This is WFO Radio.
WFO 2022 NHRA Camping World Drag Racing starts this weekend. And if you are excited and fired up, you're going to love this show. My name is Joe Castello. I am soon to be joined by the voice of the National Hot Rod Association, Alan Reinhart, as we preview the Lucas Oil Winternationals in Pomona, California, as we get ready to go again and chase those Camping World Series championships. Steve Torrence, going for his 5th championship, will be on WFO Radio tomorrow. So if you want to hear from the champ as he gets ready for the Drive for Five in a row, Steve Torrence will be joining us on WFO. This past weekend, Nitro Spring Training, Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park. I was there for a couple of days. Alan was there, and the whole world of drag racing was out there getting ready. Whether it was John Force Racing or Don Schumacher Racing or Antron Brown Motorsports or Ron Capps Motorsports, Coletta Motorsports, they were all out there getting ready. KB Racing, meanwhile, Elite, they're off in Bakersfield, right? Getting ready for a little Pomona, California Winternationals. It is going to be great. I'm super excited. If you love drag racing and you love the stars of drag racing, share this show. Those of you watching on YouTube, feel free to comment and put it out there, because we want to get the entire world invested in a little NHRA drag racing. And something that I think is super cool this weekend is also the Daytona 500, and they'll both be on Fox. And going to be very cool to have a giant motorsports-centric audience locked in all day long, focused on NASCAR and Daytona, focused on NHRA drag racing out in Pomona. Both coasts active and up and running as racing is back. On that note, if you are a NASCAR fan, we do encourage you to join the WFO Radio Fantasy NASCAR League. You can find out how to do that in our Twitter feed, drivergroupgame.com, and it's a lot of fun. You can get your name on that trophy back there that was created by Tom Patsis of Cold Hard Art. Before we bring on Alan, I got to tell you about the people who make it possible for me to go WFO and talk to drag racers and racing celebrities on a fairly regular basis. For instance, we had Michael Heiner on our Ignition show last night. Just an example of the celebrities that we had. Caught up with Michael out there at Wild Horse Pass. Caught up with Paul Lee, also FTIperformance.com. Get this, FTI Performance is the leader in the performance transmissions and torque converter industry. For over 10 years, FTI products continue to win national and divisional championships from Pro Mod to Super Street. Here's the deal. If you're a weekend warrior, if you're chasing that big money bracket race tour, all you have to do is look around and see the folks that have used and are using FTI Performance transmissions, and that will seal the deal for you. Give them a call, go to their website, FTIperformance.com, and listen and watch WFO all season long to learn about some of those racers who are running FTI Performance. Also, Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. This weekend in Pomona, Trackside Tech Talks are back. You want to learn about ring seal? You want to find out how to unlock that hidden horsepower? Are you already going to the race? You must have a ticket, folks. You cannot just show up and say, hey, I want to go to the Tech Talk. Let me in for free. You have to have a ticket. But just a little added value. You get an education on ring seal out there in Pomona. Lake Speed Jr. is going to be there. Keith Jones, Ed Keebler, the whole team going to be talking about ring seal in Hartford's Pro Stock Pit. It's going to happen on Friday, the Trackside Tech Talk. An exercise to educate more of the fans out there, more of the racers out there. Even if you're building a street engine for your LS-powered station wagon, give Total Seal a call. Make them your first call, not your last call. My buddy Marvin Rodak, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com, 817-924-6821. New year, but I haven't forgotten the number because of the great coffee that I start my day off with every single day. And every time I read this spot, every time I say it, somebody says, man, this guy keeps talking about the coffee. I actually love coffee. Let me give it a try. And you should do it, and you'll understand the Rodak way. Marvin Rodak down there in Fort Worth, Texas. Frank Atlanta Hawley, the drag racing school, the first ever drag racing school, but they've got something where they travel around the country. It's called the Dragster Adventure. Why don't you make a plan for 22? Drive a dragster. Have a little fun. You make a half track and 2 full track passes. You're interacting with the instructors there, and they travel around the country. You don't have to fly all the way to Gainesville. They come to you. the Dragster Adventure at frankhawley.com. And then, of course, samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology, the next generation of engine builders, of crew members, of crew chiefs, of EFI tuners. They're all coming up through Samtech. The students out there getting a great education and even getting placed in careers all around the world with racing-centric companies, like Boeing and SpaceX. These are our sponsors. I appreciate them. Plus, there's our Patreon VIP listener club. I'll tell you about them a little bit later on in the show because we've had unprecedented growth in that group as well. But now, it is time to go back out to Arizona, where I'm going to be spending a lot of time over the next couple of weeks and check in with the voice of the NHRA, Mr. Alan Reinhart. What's up, AR? How are you?
Hey, I'm excited, and for those who don't, maybe you can pretend.
Yeah.
I got up this morning, looked at my phone, and it said,
time to check in.
Check in for your flight to California.
Super cool. No, it is the excitement level. This is, I don't know. I think it's going to be my... Yeah. Look at Matt Clark. Matt Clark, Torque Calibration Services of Australia, sponsors WFO from time to time, a week at a time, even though he gets, what does he get out of it, right? Like, how many listeners could we possibly have down there in Australia that are going to reach out and call Matt Clark at Torque Calibration Services, .com.au and say, hey, come calibrate our torque wrenches. But that's how big a deal it is to be involved in the drag racing community. Alan, you've used a torque wrench every now and again. Pretty important that they read what they say they're reading.
No question. I mean, when you're putting together any type of precision machinery, whether it's race engines, whether it's anything, you need to be sure that everything is tightened to spec, and that's where you've got a good torque wrench. We're very fortunate that the folks at ARP travel, and there's a guy at the racetrack that will check your torque wrench for you. Not calibrate, but check it. If you've got a question about it, you can bring it by and they can take a look, and he'll let you know it's good or it's not good. But no, it's critical. I mean, if you're putting together any type of precision machinery, whether it's race engine, whether it's anything, it's critical. And and like any other tool, they need to be checked out every once in a while. You need to send them in, have them checked, have them calibrated. So if you're down in Australia, just showing up, and I get nothing out of this, by the way. This is not a paid endorsement, but it's a really cool T-shirt. And I don't know if this is a thing or not, but we're going to make it a thing. If your bill comes to over 1,000, whatever they spend in Australia's, you get a free T-shirt.
There you go, Matt Clark. He's like, oh my gosh, I got to order more. Don't worry, Matt. But what was interesting about that, since we're on it, this worldwide drag racing conversation that we're now having, we all remember the days where some people were calling the hotline for results, or you were waiting on TNN to watch the Winternationals a month after it happened. Now, drag racing fans in Australia can keep up with Camping World Drag Racing in real time, just like everybody else, but also we can keep up with what they're doing in real time. And Matt Clark is going to be racing this weekend, carrying a WFO Radio sticker into battle. And of course, he is expected to win. So good luck, Matt.
Right on. Yeah, that's it's the technology is a beautiful thing. And that I spent a few 99 cents on the 1-900-468 NHRA listening to Dave McClelland recap the day's festivities from wherever the event was way back in the day. And yeah, it's much better now. And while we're on the subject of watching, there was news came out of NHRA the last week or so, like 30 plus of the Lucas Oil events around the country are going to be streamed on NHRA.tv, and those streams are free. All you have to do is go to NHRA.tv. You have to create an account so you can sign in. The national events are a pay-per-view service. You can either buy, whatever, one or two events if you want to do that, or you can pay for the season and watch them all. But the Lucas Oil events are free to view, and the first one kicked off last week. Warren Evans was out there with his dragracer.tv providing the stream and making it happen. So there's going to be a whole lot of drag racing being streamed this weekend or this year through the NHRA site, and I think it's great. I think it's a terrific program. It's great to see it expanding, especially the hardcore fans, right? You want to keep track of what's going on in Stock or Super Stock, or what's going on in Comp Eliminator. So that can be done, and it can be done without spending money. That's a beautiful thing.
Okay, speaking of unpaid endorsements, right? I totally agree. Don't worry, folks. We're going to get to the photos. We're going to talk about the test. We're going to talk about the series. We're going to talk about everything. Alan's got his takes. I've got mine. We're going to welcome yours. But this is the time to sign up for NHRA.tv. Like, what do I get out of it? Okay, well, I get more knowledgeable fans. And when Alan and I reference something that happened in round 2 of Superstock, there's a good chance that you'll know. And honestly, I love the idea of broadcasting to a larger audience. There's a lot of great stuff that happens Friday morning at 8 o'clock, say, depending on where we are, till noon. And you can be watching drag racing, but I sometimes I think to myself, well, halfway through the season, is somebody going to sign on to NHRA.tv and pay the full ticket price? And now is the time. Get it now. You get a full year of Camping World Series action, not to mention the complimentary Lucas Oil action, which I was watching this past weekend as Dave and Sue Morris were battling it out at South Georgia Motorsports Park. Nicole Stevenson goes out there and gets a win. Great stuff happening over there. To be able to watch drag racing from any one of the NHRA's divisions pretty much at any time, and then go back and watch it, tape delay, so to speak, time shifted. That is great. Now is the time. So how much is it, right? It's like $130 now. I think the way to do it is to get the NHRA Platinum membership, and that way you get the National Dragster. Reinhardt's got a column. I've got a column. Loans has got a column. All kinds of great details. Phil Burgess, etc. Plus you're a member. Plus you get the discounts and the Nitro, all the tickets, all that. And you get NHRA.tv for under $200. Like, just go all in and do it. Everybody's got extra money these days, right? And that's it. But now's the time, like the preseason push, so you get the max value of the deal starting out on Thursday at the Lucas Oil Winternationals.
Sure. And if you're a fan of the pros, then great. You can see them without having to wait till the end of the day. And, in this day and age, it is very, very difficult to get through the day and not hear something, right? Everybody's tweeting, everybody's texting, and for me, if I wanted to watch a race, then I just kind of stayed away from. So when I watched a race, I was watching it. I was seeing what happened. It was playing out in front of me. But these days, it's impossible, right? Somebody blasts a text and like, hey, did you see what happened to Brittany Force? And now all of a sudden, it's like, oh, yeah, you ruined it for me. But you can watch it live as it happens if you watch the NHRA.tv feed. And I know a lot of people, sportsman racers in particular, that will have it on maybe as background noise if they're working in the shop, if they're doing something. And then it's like, oh, Super Gas is up. That's what I wanted to see. They go watch their class, see what's going on there, and then go back to it. And it's still just background noise. You kind of listen to it at a radio show. But when you want to watch, when whatever you want to watch comes up, you can go watch it. And really, I think it's a bargain. I'm not telling anybody what fits or doesn't fit in their budget. But when you think about how much content you get and the price per hour, price per minute, whatever, it's crazy. And the fact that, they're re-racking some of the old shows that you can go back and watch, races from the early 2000s or from the 90s are coming up. So that's all part of the package. So
the whole archive, exactly. But enough about that. If you're not already sold on this, you're watching WFO. That is what is most important to me at this moment, and that you share the show and tell your friends to get on board. But we want to grow the NHRA, guys. That's what it is. We want to grow the fan base. We want to grow this community. And what is the better way? Like, the people who have NHRA.tv are the most hardcore fans, because they know when Alan is picking on me and Loans is picking on Alan and I'm picking on somebody that you never heard of. Like, it's fun, the whole experience. And, there's people like, well, I won't get anything done on Fridays. It's like, well, if that's the big issue. So what? Exactly.
You don't work for me. I don't care.
Exactly. The corporate time stealing weasels out there. Definitely. All right. We got a lot of people checking in, like so many comments that I'm falling behind. Everybody is WFO. Everybody is ready. We're all feeling the vibe. So let's talk about the vibe. Rick, you're going to put up your little post. You've been saying how many days and weeks and seconds it is. Well, now's the time. We're just days away. Let's get this week over so we can go drag racing. And that's my first takeaway from the test. The energy that I felt there, palpable, different than I had experienced over my, 10 years at the NHRA and 30 before as a fan. Not that I got to go to tests back then, but everybody has moved around. Crew members are all moved around. Like, the whole thing has been dispersed and everybody seems to be ready to go after a championship. It's not like, well, we're trying to work on stuff. I'm thinking about Alexis. They're dialed in. I'm thinking about Bob Tasca. They're dialed in. I'm thinking about John Force, 383 in testing. They are ready to go. I didn't encounter anybody that was like, well, we got a couple things that we got to shake off and figure out just yet. Unless you're talking about, Alan Johnson with Castello Motorsports, where I don't think it's going to take them long to get up to speed because I think they already are, especially when you got Sean Langdon and JR behind the wheel. That was my observation about the energy. What do you think about that?
No, I agree. A lot of positive stuff going on out there. You look at like Justin Ashley ran very well. Josh Hart ran very well, right out of the box, ready to go. He's looking at making a full pull. Now, Doug Foley, to be, the one team that I thought was, kind of feeling their way a little bit. And when I talked to Doug, but got a brand new car, a brand new crew chief, brand new everything, and they are going in kind of baby steps at the beginning of the season, but they've got all the parts and pieces in place to be competitive, very, very quickly. So I look for that team to step up big as the year goes on as well. But it's going to be a good one. The John Force cars you knew were going to be fast. How long did it take Austin Prock to get back in the swing of things? Like, one burnout?
Yeah.
And he looked like he was ready to go. I thought one of the biggest stories coming out of there was Tony Schumacher looks like he is ready to contend for a championship right now. I mean, the team, the car's running good. Tony obviously didn't take him any time at all to get reacclimated. And when they had Jordan Vandergriff come out and make a run in that car, and he seems very confident that he's got some things in place that are going to have him back on track before the end of the year. He's not going to start off in Pomona, and I don't think we're going to see him, the first 3 or 4 races. But he wanted to make a hit in a car. Hadn't driven a canopy car before, and I think he wanted to kind of renew his license and get that going again. But I think that's going to be when he comes back out, and it sounds like it's inevitable. It's not a matter of if; it's really a matter of when. Then that's going to be another car. The new Tony Stewart Racing team, Matt Hagan's car looked like Matt Hagan's car because same guys, same driver, same crew chief, same crew, same. They're going to be in championship form right off the bat. Leah's team, on the other hand, a lot of new faces, a lot of moving parts. Neil Strasbaugh has been with her for a long time, but instead of co-crew chief, now he is the crew chief. Mike Domagala coming back. We haven't seen him on the road full time for a while. So that's a team that I think a lot of guys are going to be keeping their eyes on. And they went through, and Leah was very, very candid about their test. Said they went in there on Thursday, and they were doing some fuel system tuning. That's all they were working on, just not trying to run low ET, just making sure everything was squared away. They went into Friday, getting a little bit more aggressive with the thing, but their main focus there was to go out, not necessarily make full pulls, but keeping an eye on the parts and making sure the engine was happy and everything was where it was supposed to be. And so that's a team that is kind of ramping up a little bit. They certainly ran solid before they packed up for the weekend Saturday afternoon, but that's a team that went in with a plan. Cruz Pedregon went in with a real workman-like plan, right? We're not here to run low ET. We're here to get everybody back in the groove, to make some solid passes. We got a couple of things that we want to try, a couple of things we want to check out. And when I spoke to him Saturday evening after it was over, he was very pleased with the test. And he doesn't care a lick that John Force ran 383 because Cruz wasn't trying to do that. They came in with a game plan. They learned and did what they intended to learn and do. And he thinks he's going to be right in the mix again next year. And I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be. So it should be fun. I mean, with 20 funny cars on the pre-entry list for Pomona right now, bring on final qualifying. That's what I want to see first.
Right. And Loans crunched the numbers that we haven't had full fields at Pomona in all categories, pro categories, since 2016. And that's kind of a crazy number, but if you think about it, and this year we do. And so it's a time to be optimistic. It's a time to be positive. The drag race teams want to get involved. Now, you did tick off a couple of names, Jordan Vandergriff, for instance, and I've got a couple of short interviews with them, like less than 1 minute, Alan, and I'm just going to put it up on the screen for folks so they can see what we just talked about, like how exciting it is to see this guy. Here's Jordan in the lanes before he made his run. Jordan, what's happening?
Well, it's been a little over 2 years since my last run on one of these things, so I figured I'd take the opportunity. I got the opportunity to come out here and kind of test out a canopy car, so that's what I'm doing out here. I'll make a couple runs in Tony's car, and we're going to see how it goes, see if I like it.
You'll like it.
Yeah, see if I like it. Thank you, I appreciate that.
And love that sound, right? Just brings me right back there. But that kid needs to be involved in our sport, and he's not given up, and he stayed working, and he's behind the scenes. And, you know, who knows, maybe like the potential suitors out there are watching WFO right now. Like, I endorse this kid, his talent, ability, media savvy, friendliness, and character to the highest degree. He's out there trying to make it happen. He's not there yet, but we gotta pull him over the line.
Who started a car in the middle of your interview?
It always
That's the most disrespectful thing ever.
Thank you for saying that. You're right.
Don't people know? Like, it's like, hey, you ready? You ready? Oh, wait a minute. Is Joe doing an interview?
Castello, he's still talking, but I'm always talking. And so they could never start the cars if that was the case. It's right over the top.
Very disrespectful. No, I like it. The kid did an interview with competitionplus.com and very confident. He said, you know, here's my plan. Here's my goal. Here's what I intend to achieve. There were a few people that thought that he was more than confident. But you know what? I've always said it. You know, I want, if it's my driver, if it's my team, I want a guy that expects to win. And I want a guy that's disappointed when he loses. I don't want a guy that doesn't care. I don't want a guy that just floats along. I want a guy that's got some passion about what he's doing. And Jordan Vandergrift definitely has that. Absolutely.
He does. We got Kev Ford is out there. You, Kev, from the UK out there. Everybody's out there. Use the app notification to get here on YouTube. Love it. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, the WFO Radio app, the first app in drag racing, is and has been free for a long time. And if you want to get notifications to watch the show live when I send them out, just download the app, the App Store, Google Play, however you get your apps. And it's working pretty well. We have renewed, and it's up and running, and it's pretty cool deal. Ultimately, we want people watching on the YouTube channel, honestly, because that is giving us the best return, and it's the best deal, and it works. And I've just put the link up into the chat section. All right. You also mentioned Austin Prock. Just a quick catch up with Austin to show the vibe out there, right? Like, it was great to be so cash and be able to be on the starting line and just walk up to drivers while they were suited in. What's up, Austin? You ready?
As always.
As always. You having fun?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I've been waiting for this for a long time.
Yeah, and you're doing pretty damn good, man. It's been looking pretty great.
Yeah, a little rusty, but I'll catch up to it.
No doubt. Good luck. There it is, Austin Prock. He said a little rusty, right? But that was the point of it. Shake off the rust. It makes sense you'd be a little bit rusty. We spoke with Brittany for NHRA social media, and that's it. Like, I can't even fathom getting back into that thing, right? Oh man, it's been a couple of months. Here we go, getting back in. This is about to do what? Accelerate 0 to 100 in 0.8 of a second. And that's what they live for. So very exciting.
Yes. And, you know, you look at, I think the youth movement continues. You know, the last year or two, there's been a lot of noise made about the youth movement coming into the pro stock ranks. There's a lot of it going on in Top Fuel right now as well. So I just think it's a great time to be an NHRA fan or to be involved. And if you're, you know, a sponsor, you're looking at, you know, thinking about doing something, I think this would be a great time to get in because there's so much going on right now and it's positive. You know, the fans coming out to the racetrack, it's been very positive. The TV numbers have been very positive. I mean, and I got to tell you, from a television standpoint, how exciting is it that the lead in for our drag racing show is going to be the Daytona 500?
Huge. People who don't think about that. It's huge. There is
a ton of crossover between NHRA and NASCAR, but there are also a ton of fans. There are a ton of fans in NASCAR that look at NHRA and look at championship drag racing and just don't think much of it. And there are plenty of people in NHRA that look at NASCAR and go, oh, it's a bunch of guys driving around circles looking for the finish line. But the reality of it is, if we can expose those NASCAR fans to what we do, we've got a chance to hook some of them. We're not going to get them all, but we'll get some of them. And if you're a hardcore NHRA fan that hasn't watched a NASCAR race in a while, take a look. You might be pretty surprised about what's going on over there. They got a lot to offer, and they also have got a lot of new, young, fresh faces that are out there in the mix. And, you know, they're starting a new era with their new cars. So it's just, I think it's a great time to be a motorsports fan. And I tell you, you know, Tony Stewart and I know each other fairly well. He was out at the test session, and we were chit-chatting. You know what he was most excited about?
What?
That he gets to do an NHRA promo on the Fox show because he's part of the broadcast for Daytona. And I believe he's actually going to be in California on Friday, maybe, you know, half a day Saturday before he flies to the other side of the world. But, he talked about when he's over there, and he did the Busch Clash as a commentator for Fox. When he's over there, they kind of steer him clear of the NHRA, right? It's like, look, you're here to talk about this and do this and do this. But he was very excited about the fact that he gets to promote not just his race team, but NHRA to the NASCAR fan base. And hopefully, again, I don't care how hardcore a NASCAR fan you are, if you've never thought anything about drag racing ever, if Tony Stewart says, hey, I have a 2-car team, you need to give this a look, that's good for us. It's a great time to be involved with NHRA right now. Very exciting time.
Well, on that note, not to put extra pressure on Tony, not that he's watching out there right now. Well, he could double our audience with a couple of very well-placed words, right? The checkered flag of the Daytona 500, give or take, 8 million people will be watching, right? All he's got to do is make it compelling, like, hey, guys, I got so into this that I have now a team, and as a NASCAR guy that you guys follow, just don't do anything. Stay right where you are and leave the channel on and continue to watch as my new teams go on this new venture that I'm about to start in the world of drag racing, and check out these 330 mile per hour cars. It's very compelling. I liked it so much that I'm involved. Come with me. Check this out on Fox, and don't change the channel on Fox because they've got some great marketing partners. All he's got to do is nail that. And what's the initial audience going to be for the Lucas Oil Winternationals at Pomona? If it was 8 million when the checkered flag crossed and some people went away, it could be 3 million. It could be, who knows what it could be. So Tony, don't mess this one up, Mitchell.
No, I think we're in good hands there. He does such a great job on the NASCAR television side of things anyway. And I've kind of harassed him about the fact a couple of years ago he was doing one of the Xfinity races, and I sent him a text and I said, hey, look, I'll make you a deal. You stay out of broadcasting and I won't own a Cup team. And he fired back and said, well, what's it pay to be an announcer? And I said, well, not enough. What's it pay to be a Cup team owner? And he said, not enough. So I thought we had come to an agreement. And then he goes out there and starts announcing again. So I told him in Phoenix, I said, look, you brought this on yourself. I'm starting a Cup team.
I like it. Here's a question.
He didn't seem too nervous about that, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I gotta say. But hey, whatever he wants to do. Here's one that I don't know the answer though. To I know you're close with Jim Head. I don't know the latest. Do you know the latest?
Gainesville.
Any news from Jim Head and Blake Alexander? They will make their first race at Gainesville, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what they have planned all along. Jim has a new truck and trailer to replace, of course, the one that was in the accident. And, they have not started in Pomona for a while. But Jim says that I believe they're planning 14 races or maybe 16. They're not planning on the full tour, but they're planning to be out in Gainesville. Yeah, I talked to him a couple weeks ago.
Lonnie, he loved Leah's tie-dye paint job. And I got to say, so did I. I thought her car was spectacular. What a great look. Like that one when it gets on track, because they were testing both cars. That thing, I don't know if that's tie-dye or just like, rainbow of sparkling ice caffeine flavors. That is pretty amazing. An idea that I had like 5 years ago. Like, why not just caffeinate regular water? And people scoffed. They thought it was a bad idea, like Larry David in the Super Bowl commercial. What, the wheel? Who cares? And as it turned out, now everybody has got caffeinated water. That was me 10 years ago, and I've even got people that'll back me up on that, hopefully, Al Rondon. But great-looking car, like seeing everybody all schemed up. Leah was in great attitude out there. A lot of good stuff going on.
There were a few teams out there, and I think Leah's is one of them, that were very grateful to be at the racetrack, simply because everything that they've gone through in the last couple of months, with just getting everything moved into the new shop, getting everything set up, getting the teams together. Ron Capps, same thing, all of the stuff that he was going through, even though he didn't necessarily have to change locations, but being the boss now and getting everything in place to be the team owner, to be the boss, and to make sure everything, and was very grateful that they were able to get it all done and to be at the racetrack, because now it starts to feel a little more normal. When you're in the shop every day and you keep looking at the calendar and going, oh my God, we only got 4 days. Oh my God, we only got this. And then we make it to the racetrack. For some of the teams, it's almost like a moment, right? We did it. Now we're here. This is our comfort zone. Now it's time to really go to work. And the fact that we get to fire off 3 consecutive weekends, the test last week in Phoenix and Pomona, and then we're going to be right back in Phoenix. And everybody should be in the swing of things and in the rhythm by then. Take a 1-week break for the pros, and then we go to Gainesville. But with all of the stuff that was moving behind the scenes throughout the winter break, there were quite a few teams that really was almost a sigh of relief that we accomplished this. We got everything together we needed, and we are here, and we are ready to go racing. And, there was, as I said, there was a lot of teams that had a really long to-do list when we left Pomona. There was a lot of teams that didn't even know what was on the to-do list when we left Pomona. And, the fact that they made it through all the motions and now they're ready to go again, it's a pretty exciting time.
You mentioned Arizona. I was heartened to see something out there that I want to talk about in that, pre-promotion is something that I think is so important and so big. So when I got on the highway by Wild Horse Pass and I saw this on a billboard, getting ahead of it, thinking about the Arizona Nationals, first time back at that racetrack in a little while since the beginning of the 2020 campaign when it was our last race of normalcy. And now we're back. Like, I loved seeing this billboard, right? Big, clear, the dates. It's a dragster. Like, you can, sometimes the billboards are a little too fuzzy and a little too busy and you can't read them. This one I could read. It was clear. It was well executed. And it was right by the track, which you're going to pass a mile down. I was super excited to see them promoting. And was it you who said that it's probably going to be very well attended?
Well, I think everybody feels that way, simply because we didn't get to go last year. And there are a lot of hardcore race fans in Arizona, and they want to come out. I think there's also going to be, and I wish there was a way to put some kind of a metric on this, but I'm really curious as to how many flying fans we will have that take the week, right? You could fly into California on Friday, hit the Lucas Oil Winternationals Saturday, Sunday. It's a 400-mile drive to Phoenix. Actually 300 miles, 400 Arizona, or to Tucson. And so, a nice lazy drive for a couple of days. You can do some stuff, whether you want to be a tourist in California or whether you want to be a tourist in Phoenix, come on over.
Yes.
Pick out another race. And if you're, living someplace where you're snowed under, iced under, or just tired of being cold, take a week, fly out here and pick off the first 2 races of the season.
I thought about staying out there, but man, after what I had to do last year for the segments, I need the segments early on. You got to get ahead of the segments and the miles and everything. Look who's out there. Fabrizi's out there. Dang it, I'm late tuning in. Don't worry. You only missed the most important stuff, Tim. 83. What was that? Was that an accident? Were you guys going for it? You got a 79 in there? Come on now. Fabrizi. That was a shot, though. We need that kind of stuff, right? You want to get people excited about ETs, and they gave a little chum in the water for the fans out there. And what about that, Alan? Just like the general performances were fast. Like, everybody was fast. Nobody was, tapping at it.
Well, I think if Robert had been driving the car, it probably would have run 80 flat. Because, John, he just chunks her in there a little bit.
Yes.
Testing, he don't care. Stage with the headers. Car was running good. All of the John Force cars were running good. All of them. Robert's car, Robert did have an issue on one run, flamed it up pretty good. But his car put some solid numbers on the board. Brittany was strong. We already talked about Austin. But I think that the John Force, and I know the John Force guys on the funny car side last year were a little, I don't know if embarrassed is the right word, but they really feel like they didn't put their best foot forward last year. When they come down to the end of the season and they're not in championship contention, and they didn't win a number of races, multiple races like they do year after year after year. They had an okay year, but they didn't have a solid championship contending year. And I think that they came to Phoenix to send the message that, guys, last year was an anomaly, and the John Force racing that you have feared over the course of the last 2 decades is back and ready to go again. So looking forward to it.
Exactly. Did Tony Schumacher also have 2 cars in Phoenix? Yeah, I saw 2 cars. I saw the Bengals car with the tiger stripes, which I used to try to trick Bengal fans into retweeting my tweet about drag racing. It didn't work. But I showed the tiger stripes. Who wants to see the Bengals win the Super Bowl? And I figured some of them would just fire it off and then reveal the top field dragster. But and the Super Bowl was good. I enjoyed the game.
I did too. My team didn't win, but it was, I said, overall, I really want more than anything a good game, and I got a good game. And I also said, just don't let Cooper Kupp be the one that beats us. And of course, that's what happened. But I'm not 100% sure, but I don't believe Tony had 2 cars. I think they just swapped the body on it.
Oh, okay.
Leah did, definitely. They had just the 1 car, but they swapped the body. You need to, A, make sure everything's like it's supposed to be, and B, get some photos of the thing, doing burnouts and doing stuff that you're going to be able to use. So there was a lot of body swapping going on out there, especially on the dragster side. There were a couple of the teams that did run more than 1 car, but there were a few of them that just out there and swapped the panels.
Swap 2 looks, same car. A couple other notes, and we're all over the place. If you've got a question, put it in the chat section. Of course, likes on YouTube, very valuable. We appreciate it. Subscribe and click the bell. But Chad Green Motorsports in Wilkerson, right? Very excited to see what's going on. I want to shout out to Hunter Green, who kid ran an A fuel car on Thursday, jumped in a top fuel car on Friday, and Chad has been like toe in the water with the Pro Mod car. And he's got Dean Marinas helping him out. And to watch now, they've kind of, what I would deem is decided what they want to do, right? Father and son out there racing. Chad's going to run with Wilk Tuning, and Hunter is now getting some seat time. I'm very excited for them. I'm excited for Wilkerson as well. We got to recall he won a couple of races in the countdown last year. Get tripped up on the other races in the countdown this year. But another example of one of those guys that starts 22 strong.
Yeah, Wilkerson won Indy last year. I don't know if you remember or not, but that's pretty big deal.
I've heard of that race. I've heard of
it. Yeah. Again, the competition level is going to be so high. It's just going to be a great time to be a fan, and I particularly don't want to miss a minute of it. So, there were just so many teams out there that ran well that now we go and start racing for real, and we're going to see what happens when it really counts.
All right, let's look at some photographs, because Lonnie says the Supra looked good and fast. And, everybody knows I've talked about my evolution on Toyota in motorsports. There was a time where I was against, and now I am very much for, because I have seen them. I know the people, I know the investment, I know how much they care, I know what they do, I know how hard they work. I know people who have been employed by and for, and have told me all the stories, and they love the sport. And really, they're investing as much as anybody else, and probably more than many. So we've all said for years, right? We want these funny cars to look like cars. And so I studied J.R. Todd's car, and I think this could be one of the best looking funny car bodies ever. And I just wonder if people are able to notice all the different body lines and little character traits, like that little notch right by the rear window there, to see exactly what's up. The dimple right behind that front wheel where the body is sucked in, which is really cool. Over here on the right-hand side, that look. It also helps that it starts out as kind of a hatchback sports car. All those little notches, you got to get up close and got to see it perfectly. The thing is amazing. It is a beautiful car. They put so much effort in. And the Castello Motorsports guys have literally been working nonstop. I spoke with Todd Smith. They were down in Palm Beach getting it worked out. They used every second because of the new body changes. Like it's not just a bolted on kind of thing. There's adjustments and weight balance. It's got less drag, but more downforce. Like, how do you do that? Just, I think it's going to be maybe a bit of a game changer. And everybody's got new bodies now. The oldest body is what? The Dodge? They're all pretty new.
Yeah, they are all pretty new. So I think that'll, help level the field a little. One of the things I like about the Toyota, and you didn't have a picture of it there, was I like the nose of it. I like the fact that if you look at the thing in just carbon fiber, it doesn't have to have a drop of paint or decal on it anymore. There is no doubt that's a Toyota. And they wanted to do that for the brand identification, which I think is good. And, you mentioned the funny car. The dragster looks good, too. Whoever the graphics person is, whether it's at Castello or at Toyota but whoever the graphics person is that came up with the paint schemes for the 2 DHL cars, I give them 2 thumbs up.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Great stuff. And I feel like JR is on a bit of a mission this year. He and Sean, best reaction times in the category for 21, just tough year, right? They didn't win the right races, but now they've got a whole new mindset over there, whole new energy, Alan Johnson energy, and Todd Smith and Jono. They're great already. But they're going to benefit. So I don't know if Castello Motorsports is going to run over the field necessarily, but they're going to get their licks in and their share.
Agreed. And, there's so many good cars out there right now. It would be interesting to sit down and look at who are going to be the touring and then try to figure out who's going to be in, whether it's the top 10 or the top 5, because there are a lot of cars out there that you look at what this team did or what these people did over the course of the last couple of years. I mean, you would almost automatically pencil Matt Hagan into a top 5 spot, right? He's been there for every year.
Fact.
You would almost automatically pencil Cruz Pedregon in because of what JC and the guys have done over the years. And, now that they've had a year under their belt and they finished solid last year, you almost automatically pencil them in. You look at the way John Force ran, you look at the way Robert Height ran, you think those guys have got to be there. Wilkerson, we talked about what a great year he had last year. You had the champ up there for a sec. He's got all the same people, all the same stuff, so he's definitely going to be there, right? So all of a sudden, you got 8 guys that are definitely going to be in the top 5.
Right. Except they're not. And that's the thing. And the fight starts this weekend. The championship. Okay. Me and Steve Torrance got into it a little bit, not in a negative way, but in a conversational way about the countdown, right? Again, and he's not into it. That's his right. And he makes great competitive points. Like, this race this weekend would matter more if there was no countdown, because someone's going to get ahead of this race, of this field. But the championship still is related to this, because you want to go into the countdown as high up in the points as is possible. And that starts this weekend. You cannot have off races or bad races if you want to finish in a top position at the end of the year. And that starts this weekend, especially when you look around and everybody's good. Everybody's good. Everybody's at the top of the game. They're all good. So you can't have an off weekend anymore.
Well, I certainly understand Steve's point. He and I have had the conversation as well, and he is, certainly entitled to his opinion. But I just think that how teams perform under pressure is a big part of any sport. And you ramp the pressure up when you have a countdown format like we have, because yes, you can run away in the early season, but you have to perform now when the pressure's on if you really want to be the champion. Or you can have a not so great early season, but if you can get your team to perform when the pressure's on, you've got a shot to make a move up into or potentially even win a championship. And I like the fact that pressure, brings out the best in teams. As I said, I completely understand Steve's point of view, and he's entitled to his opinion.
Yeah.
But if you look at his team and what they've done, I don't think you can point to any other top fuel team out there and say that they respond better to pressure than the Capco boys. And if you wander through the pits, especially in the countdown, right, when things are on the line and when things are happening, man, you can just feel the tension over there, right? If you can get through the stereo blasting and everybody with a smile on their face and, Mama Kay with her cup in her hand, and those guys are so loose and so relaxed and so good under pressure. And that's why they've won the last 4 championships. And that's why they're going to be right in the mix again here this year. I do think, and I think Steve would say the same thing, we talked a little bit and he, kind of alluded to that this may be the toughest year in Top Fuel for him to come back out as a champion, because he's always had a couple of cars that he had to fight with all year long. And you get into the championship and there'd be a couple of cars that he really would have to be concerned with. Now there's a whole lot more than a couple of cars out there. I still, as I said from the beginning, until somebody can show me they can beat the Capco boys on a regular basis, then Steve, I think, is still the favorite. But I think his the level of competition has gone up considerably. The degree of difficulty this year is going to be higher than it's been in Top Fuel, maybe ever.
Well, I'm going to ask him tomorrow. He's going to be on the show. I was speaking with Steve and Nat, and she's like, did we ever do the champion interview? I was like, no, we did not. I was going to ask you about that. And he's like, yeah, we got to do that. And so I was like, you want to do it right now? He said, no. It's like, what? He goes, I want to do the streaming show. It's like, oh, you like the streaming show better? He goes, yeah, I like the fans. I like to see the fans commenting. I like the comments out there. So all you guys out there on WFO, know this. I tried to get a little lazy with Steve-O, man, and record something for tomorrow. And he said, no, we'll be on live 2 p.m. tomorrow Eastern. And it's because Steve loves connecting with the fans out there on WFO Radio, which I thought was great. Like he wants that, right? He wants that. He wants to see what the fans have to say. But yeah, this has got to be like, is this going to be the toughest task? And I think it's clearly going to be the toughest task that he has endured. And another thing is the countdown makes it, you have to do it again, right? You build a big lead, you lose the lead, you got to do it again. And when history looks back on what they have done, the fact that he's done it in the countdown era, I think will add difficulty points to those championships in arguments over non-countdown championships, because you have to do it again.
Well, everybody has to play by whatever rules are in place right now. And if you look at what the Capco guys have done over the years, with or without the countdown, they were going to win multiple championships. So the fact that they've been able to do it in this type of era and, respond when the pressure's on speaks volumes. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of rivalry develops between he and Tony Schumacher, because Tony Schumacher certainly is not afraid to speak his mind, and he ain't shy. And he has made no bones about, he believes he is the best top fuel driver ever, period. And he believes that part of the reason that Steve has won so many championships is because he wasn't out there.
Right.
And he's back now. And he believes he's got something to prove. And I don't think that Steve is over there shaking in his boots, as Brittany Ford so famously said that one time. I think Steve is looking at Tony Schumacher and going, bring it.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing what develops. I mean, it's going to have to develop between those two on the racetrack, but I really have a feeling that that there's going to be some. I think there's going to be some quotable moments by the end of the year. Let's just put it that way.
Well, exactly, and that's what we want. We want good quotable moments. All right, let's keep going. Thanks everybody watching out there. Got a big audience today. Share the show. Watch on YouTube, WFO Radio TV. Smash the bell. Get notifications. All that stuff. Remember the app. All of the WFO stuff, because we do this every Tuesday. A debrief session. Next week, we will be talking about actual race winners, Alan. How crazy is that? I just want to make sure we talk about everybody as best as I can. Like, I want to give a shout out to Clay Milliken, bringing on Summit as a sponsor. I've got an interview with Clay. It's a little bit longer. We're going to save it till after you're off, because I don't want to, take away your time here on the show. Funny car looking great, top to bottom. Let's talk a little pro stock. The factory hot rods. Hartford made 25 runs out there this weekend, but they want it. They said earlier this year that this is they're making a championship run. They feel like they've got the power, they've got the knowledge. They got a little lost last year. They lost some time. They did not represent the way that they wanted. That this year is the year they're going to make a championship run. And I love to see them investing in a test. And they were finding it. They had a couple of really great 60 foots. Greg Anderson showed up, I guess, on Saturday. He's the champ. He showed the class what was up. But Hartford was in the neighborhood. And that's going to be interesting.
Well, Greg Anderson personally was actually there all weekend. And when I spoke to him on Friday, by the way, thank you for the crankshaft, Greg. I now have a Pro Stock crankshaft for my museum to go with the Top Fuel one. But he said his first priority on Thursday and Friday was taking care of his engine customers, making sure that everybody was comfortable, that everybody was happy with the horsepower, and so that's what he did for the first couple of days. And I mean, they literally rolled his car out of the trailer and shoved it all the way up by where the truck was, by the semi, out from under the awning, so it wouldn't be in the way, and he could work on helping out his engine customers. And then he came out on Saturday and looked just like he looked last year. Looked like he was 100th, maybe 100th and a half, quicker than most. That gap might have narrowed a little bit, but he still came like right out of the box and looked pretty solid. And I think he's motivated. The number of years that he didn't have the number one on the car, and now that he's got it back, I think that's even extra motivation to try to keep it on there. So I think he's going to be as tough as it gets.
Absolutely. Somebody I do want to shout out. First of all, that's like my greatest photo ever, guys. Just everybody enjoy it, because my gosh. What a catch, right? What a capture. That's actually taken from a video, but amazing. But Kid Chaos, he, check this out. We are Kid Chaos. What's up, Kyle?
What's up, Joe? Coming live, Kick Chaos here at WFO Radio from Phoenix, Arizona. Day one of testing. Lucas Oil Chevy Camaro.
How's it gonna go?
Ready.
How's it gonna go?
We are ready. Oh, we're going A to B real fast. Super fast.
I love this guy, man. I love this guy. I do. Like, I love that. What a personality. Let Kid Chaos win a couple of races, right? And like start feeling it. And he's got this whole, he wants to be successful. He's very serious about his racing, but it comes out in these little, skits and character moments where he's doing the WFO liner without me prompting him. This guy is awesome. I'll be watching out for Kid Chaos. Remember how the season ended.
Well, he's like his dad. I mean, big personality, enjoys life, takes his racing very seriously. And, he did get into the winner's circle once last year, but I think that he would tell you flat out that there were a couple of them that they left on the table, and they're going to try to, kind of erase those unforced errors, as it were. And, got good horsepower coming out of the Ken Black horsepower factory. So I think he can, I think he can certainly be a contender. The pro stock, the one thing I really missed was the elite guys. And you mentioned at the top of the show that they went up to Bakersfield to test instead of coming to Phoenix. But it's tough to get an apples to apples when the two teams are at two different tracks. The McGahey team was there. Both Chris and Mason were there. They made some pretty solid runs. Chris got a brand new car coming into the season, and they've got some stuff that they've been working on. They also, I think, feel like they underachieved a little bit last year, so they're looking at bouncing back. But no, it's going to be, it's we might as well just record it, right? This is going to be one of the greatest years ever in fill in name of class here.
Yes, exactly. Well, exactly that. I didn't mention Mike Salinas when we talked Top Fuel. That's the deal. Like they got Rob Flynn. Talk to Mike. Mike is super happy. You'd think he'd be bummed, right? Lost Alan Johnson. No, they feel like they've got direction, understanding. The car is as it was. They got Rob Flynn, who, frankly, I think has something to prove, right? He wants to do well no matter what. But I think that Rob Flynn wants to show the world, hey, guys, I've got this. And Mike told me that Rob is not restrained by anything. Like, do what you think is right, that you're the man. Like Mike Salinas, who has had so many people say they love the way he manages people, say, Rob, you're my guy. And that feeling has got to be tremendous. Just so exciting, top to bottom. Buddy Hull got his own car that he bought from Wilkerson. The Wilkerson Top Fuel Dragster are going to be out there for quite a few races. Just so many people coming in. But I want to focus on a racer that was on WFO a few weeks ago who was making more laps than anybody, just catching up, right? Learning. And that is Camry Caruso. Camry was out there just making lap after lap after lap. And I love, and this sounds terrible, but I love watching someone struggle in a learning process because it tells me how hard it is. Camry's driven a lot of race cars, including an A-Fuel dragster. She won. And the timing and all the elements and all the details of pro stock. And from when I got there Thursday morning, she was the first car on track, to when I left on Friday afternoon, she was one of the last cars I saw on track. There had been a quantum leap forward in how she was handling the situation over the 2 days. I assume it continued, but that's a story that is just going to be interesting to watch because pro stock is not easy as so many think it might be because they're only 6-second cars.
No, and she definitely looked like she was making progress. I think, though, she might have been taking a little heat from some of the stuff that wasn't necessarily her. They were having some shock issues with the car, at least at one point of the weekend when I was wandering down in the pits and Yates was underneath it and Camry was inside. And he's like, okay, push the clutch, push the throttle, but okay, that's weird. Hold it. And going through the motions. For those who don't know, these cars have shocks, electric shocks on them that adjust during the course of the run. You've got one shock setting when the clutch comes out, and then it's a different shock setting when you go into third gear, and they have to adjust during the course of the run in order for the car to be smooth and fast. And they were having some kind of an issue with that. So, some of the struggles that Camry was having, I'm not 100% sure you could lay on her shoulders, but she was making, as you said, just lap after lap after lap, trying to learn, trying to get comfortable with the car, trying to get everything sorted out that they may have been struggling with there, and trying to get her just more and more seat time. So it's she's going to be another fresh face in the category. look like they've got, pretty good steam, and, you got Jim Yates working on the car. You got plenty of knowledge there. So it's just a matter of, getting it all to come together is going to really be the key. And she made a couple of side-by-side runs also with Matt on Saturday. And I'm not sure, I honestly don't know the answer to this, if she had or how many side-by-side runs that she had, because they've done a lot of testing with that car. They've been down in Florida with it testing and done a lot before they ever came to Phoenix. But I'm not sure that she had ever been side-by-side, or certainly not very many times. So they got together with Matt Hartford and said, hey, can we do this? We want her to get comfortable and get to know the routine and get to know the timing. And so they made a couple of side-by-side runs with that. That certainly wasn't the most famous side-by-side run of the weekend, but it was fun.
Yeah, which was what? Leah and Matt, right? Like that was as soon as I leave. Is Castello gone? He's gone? Okay, let's do the cool stuff now. All right, Castello's gone. Let's do the cool stuff now. Funny car, top fuel. Yeah, let's do it. Let's mix it up. It's okay, guys. I got the net. I saw it all. I felt like I was there, but that was pretty cool. And Sean and Doug going side by side when, getting later on in the test. I did see Paul Lee, who has Dustin Heim back on his team, and I think might be the big story of the offseason with acquisitions, go side by side with a Jeep. That was the highlight of the side by side action while I was there.
Well, now the Jeep didn't actually go.
No, it just kind of
It was a photo op that Krista put together. But no, Paul Lee, I was going to bring that up too, because he's one that we didn't mention earlier in the show, but he had a good test. Talked to Jimmo pretty extensively, and, he likes where they are. They're comfortable with their inventory, their clutch discs, the stuff that, makes those things go up and down the road. So I think that's a car that you're going to see a little bit more performance out of this year as well. Talk to Krista Baldwin, and has she ever been in a bad mood? I mean, she's like, just very excited to be back out at the racetrack with Paul, and very excited about her prospects in the top fuel car that they're going to expand the schedule a little bit with her later on this year. Plus, she brought me a replacement poster for my McLeod poster that apparently aged in the Arizona sun.
Oh, well, good.
So
good.
I now have a new one that I have to put up. I would show you, but I don't want to show you that I don't have the new one up yet, because then I'll get yelled at.
Yeah, man. Why don't you have the new one up yet, Reinhardt? All right. Final thoughts, because we could just go all day. I do have a couple of longer format interviews that I want to play, after we part ways. But this is it, Alan. Message to the WFO Universe, to the NHRA fan universe, prior to the start of the Lucas Oil Winternationals and the 2022 Camping World Series campaign. Go.
I'm just looking forward to it. We have spent the entire off season or winter break talking about this is changing, that's changing, this is going into it's time. No more talk. This weekend, we're on track. If you're an NHRA TV subscriber, you're going to love it. Looks like the weather's going to be great. It actually looked like the long-term forecast that it was going to be really nice weather on Friday and Saturday, and then cool down about 10 degrees on Sunday. And if race day has the best conditions of the weekend, that makes it even more fun. So I think my final thought is enough talk. Let's go racing.
Absolutely. And I was just kind of staring at that Pro Stock crank back there. Like, that's pretty good. That's how you got yourself a Pro Stock crank, Alan.
Yeah, well, it's just so different, and that's why I wanted it, because, I've got a top fuel crankshaft, but, when you do the comparison of bore and stroke in a top fuel car and in a Pro Stock car, considering they're both 500 cubic inches, it is amazing how different they really are for both being 500 cubic inches. So that's why I wanted the extra prop for my museum. And when I asked Greg if he had one that had been cycled out or was no longer useful, he said, I got just the one for you. And yeah, this one, it didn't age out. Let's just put it that way. It was very obviously involved in a traumatic experience that it was unable to recover from. But I've got it in my museum.
Okay, this guy wants you to say attention in the pits. I think you should make him watch on NHRA.tv, but it's up to you.
Nah, watch on NHRA.tv.
Ooh, sorry, Lonnie. Sorry.
That's a racetrack. That's a racetrack call. It just doesn't really work in the shop.
I agree with you. Alan, great job. I will see you in a couple of days. You guys are going to be live Thursday morning on NHRA.tv. I will arrive on Thursday, and I will see you Friday morning. We're going to try to do some cool stuff for the NHRA social media, so everybody be watching bright and early. And this is it. Here we go. And hopefully, drag racing fans will buy buy their tickets for the Lucas Oil Winternationals and come and start this incredible season with us at this outdoor venue. We saw the Busch Clash. We've seen the Super Bowl. Fans of NASCAR showed up. Fans of football showed up. This is a huge, huge deal, right? Like a Super Bowl for us, if you will. I hope everybody in California shows up and comes out to this race.
I hope so too. I'm looking forward to it. Travel safe, and I will see you in Pomona.
All right. Thank you, Alan. There he goes, the voice of the NHRA. Alan Reinhart joins us each week right here on WFO Radio. How about that? Remember, subscribe, click the bell, WFO Radio TV on YouTube. We're on Twitter. We're everywhere that you get stuff, including the audio-only podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, where frankly, the majority of our audience is all around the world. Thank you, podcast listeners. WFO Radio been going for over 10 years. All right, we got a couple more interviews I want to play. I know this is just so much content, right? I was out there just capturing information, learning as much as I could, and also getting some video clips and all of that. But I was able to catch up with a couple of folks, for instance, and I want to make sure that I use the stuff that I got, like Clay Millican, for instance, as he was getting ready to make a run. What's up, brother? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
You ready?
We'll find out. I'm ready. We'll find out if the car's ready here in a moment. First time stomping on the loud pedal in 2022. It's going to be a great day no matter what this run is. I'm excited and ready to go out here and get after it.
All right. There he goes, and that's Clay Millican. And I caught up with Clay, but I also caught up with Josh Hart. And I caught up with Josh. Hey, everybody, we're here with Josh Hart. Josh, your pit area has expanded. All new for 22. Tell us about it.
Oh, we're going to offer hospitality for some of the R&L folks and some of our VIPs. We're doing a VIP sweepstakes giveaway.
I saw that. We talked about it. Give that information right now. It's not over next week, is it? When's it over?
I believe it is. But you go on Instagram, and we're trying to get new fans, bring them to our Instagram social media outlets. So go on there, you'll see all the information, and it's going to be awesome.
And it's not the last contest he's going to have if you guys missed out on this one. All right, so, go back over here. Look at this. The new equipment is fighting me. What you learned last year and applying it to this year. Talk a little bit about that. You realized, oh my gosh, I really love this. This is something I want to be involved with. It's going to be a family thing for me. I want to win. And you showed that last year. So now you're starting fresh. Just give us your mental state, where you feel you guys are at as a team.
I'm feeling good. Ron and the team, they're all awesome. Everybody knows that. We gelled together very well last year. And this year is only going to improve. Onwards and upwards. We're confident that we've got some good partners that we truly believe in with TechNet and R&L. And I think that we're going to bring it. We want to win. We want to focus and we're ready to rock.
Okay, so you brought in a couple of sponsors that were not in the sport, which I think is great, and it says a lot about you. And Ron Douglas, you made him a partner in the deal, which also says a lot about you. A lot of people don't want to do that. Why? What's the story with that? That you're willing to share? I don't know. Explain.
So yeah, I've had a lot of people help me out during my career. I've learned a lot. I genuinely had no idea what silly season was, and I'm thinking, oh man, I'm not going to deal with this. I need to be razor sharp and focused. People great people like Steve Jobs. They wore the same thing every day because they didn't want to waste their brain power, to achieve the task.
Right.
So they wore the same thing every day. Long story short, Ron's great. We have the same demeanor, and why not share with a guy like that? He's just as responsible as I am for the success of this team.
That's amazing. Well, good luck this year. I can't wait to see what you guys are capable of.
Thank you for the time, sir.
Way to go, Josh. Yes, there it is. Josh Hart. Going to be rock and roll this year. There it is, Josh Hart. How about that? How about Josh? Very fired up to go get him this year. A full year of NHRA Drag Racing. He and Ron Douglas, and they bring in R&L carriers and sponsors that haven't been involved in drag racing, certainly for a long time. And if maybe ever, I don't know. But it's very exciting to see what he's got going on. Also want to talk a little bit about Paul Lee. And I mentioned that Paul, who's been around for a couple of years, but I mentioned that Paul has hired Dustin Heim, and that came out here, and I thought it was kind of interesting the way it all worked. And yes, I was using a little bit of new equipment, getting used to it, and it wasn't working so great from the selfie perspective, but deal with it. Hey everybody, we are here at the Test WFO Winternationals. This week we got Paul Lee. Paul, are you ready for the season?
Oh, I'm more than ready, man. I've been waiting all winter. We got some new crew guys on our team, got some new parts and pieces, and we're pretty excited to see what this thing's going to do tomorrow.
Very exciting. Last year was, how would you rate last year? You wanted to be better, of course, but you learned a lot along the way.
Yeah, I mean, 2020 was a better year. I have to admit, we finished number 9 in the points. We were pretty happy the way we ran. We went rounds. The car ran pretty consistent. Last year, we were inconsistent. So that's what we're trying to fix this year is our consistency. You know, we had some good races where we went fast and went some rounds, but we want to do that more. We want to make more complete runs. We had a lot of aborted runs last year, so that's our number one goal to fix is more consistent with the clutch and going faster at more races.
But isn't that how it's supposed to go? Like you're supposed to crawl before you walk, before you run? Is this the run season?
Yeah, I thought last year was the run season, but it wasn't. But yeah, we're here to race. I mean, we got some great guys. We got Dustin Heim on our team this year, assistant crew chief for Jimmo.
Oh, wow.
Dustin was formerly Ron Tobler's longtime assistant. And there's not too many people besides Ron Tobler knows our tune-up more than him. So we brought him on board, so we think that's going to be a
How
big
did that
help.
happen? That's a genius level move, because when the Napa team became, when Beckman's team went to Napa and the Napa team got dissolved and those guys all went to different directions, Dustin was just kind of, I guess, he wasn't...
Well, he took the year off.
He took the year off.
Yeah, he had been on the road with Tobes for a long time, and he just wanted to take a year off and see what it was like racing without racing, and he said, you know, he's over the winter. He said, "Yeah, I'm ready to come back racing." So I said, "Good, you're joining our team."
That is.
I made him join our team.
Big move right there, guys. No joke.
Yeah, it's going to be a big plus for our team.
I think so. Schedule-wise, you've been, you know, crawl, walk, run. This year, you're trying for the countdown. Yes?
Yeah, we did last year. We did the last 2 years, and last year we just fell short. We just, like I said, the inconsistency, and we didn't go to a lot of the races because you know we weren't doing very good. So there's no use doing them all.
Right.
If you're not going to be in the countdown, then why keep going? So, but our goal this year, we're going to do the first 6.
Okay.
And we're going to see how we do. But we have 15 races on the schedule, so that is definite. Whether we go to all of them or not is going to depend on how well we do.
Got it. What is being out here now on a consistent basis? So people got to recognize, you've heard me interview Paul over the years, PRI, right? Like just driving one of these things.
I have been doing this since 1988.
Right.
You know, alcohol funny cars for all these years, and then 2004 started with the Nitro funny cars. I mean, it's just my passion, you know, and I get to promote the businesses, you know, McLeod, FTI, Silver Sport Transmissions, you know. What's more fun than being able to come out and drag race a Nitro funny car and promote our businesses?
Right.
I got the best job in the world.
Speaking of which, I get to promote one of the businesses, and that is FTIperformance.com for you bracket racers and .90 racers. Paul, you bought the company, what, 3 years ago?
Yes, 2019.
3 years ago. And very interesting, right? Just showing how in depth you are when it comes to racing, sportsman racing, .90 racing, big money bracket racing. What do you know of that world? Like it's a very intense world, and those guys can often win more money than you can.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it is. I've learned a lot in the last 3 years, to be honest with you. When Greg Samuel and I first did the deal with FTI in 2019, I really didn't know how a converter worked. I've never even driven an automatic car down the drag strip in my life.
Wow.
I've always been a clutch guy. So hence the clutch company. But
sure.
Now we're a complete driveline company between McLeod clutches, FTI Performance with the converters and the transmission. So now we're more of a complete driveline company, and that's where we want to be. We want to be the go-to people for driveline.
That is excellent. And you jumping on board with WFO in 2022. Thank you for that. Our listeners, Paul Lee stepping up. And you know what the best part was? And I shouldn't tell everybody this, but we're at PRI.
PRI show, yeah.
And it was your idea.
Yeah. I just... I don't know what hit me. I just, you know, we've been friends a long time, and I say, hey, you know, what are you doing? You know, I've seen some of the previous advertisers on there, and I go, you know, Joe does a great job with his show. I love his show. I've been part of it a few times, and I said I want to be a part of that. So now we're a part of it.
So there you go.
Happy.
Well, all right. So you just heard it, guys. If you have a bracket car, if you are a sportsman racer, if you're a .90 racer, and you're looking for a transmission, you want the best stuff, FTI Performance. Paul, good luck this year.
Thank you so much, and thank you to all your loyal FTI customers. Hope to see you at the races.
I want to get the shadow like off of your face because we're at the golden hour. They call this the golden hour, the photographers.
Yes, okay.
That's the thing. Good luck this year.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you. There we go. Paul Lee, FTI. Great job by Paul. Dustin Heim, all that information. Great stuff. Speaking of which, put your comments in the comment section, guys. A couple more comments in the comment section. Well, I see if there's anything else that I've got to show you. Like if there's anything else that I've got to show you that I captured out there. Yeah, like the Matt Hartford interview. I kind of don't want to show you that one because I caught him in a bit of a bad moment. But let's see what Hartford had to say. Right? Yeah. WFO Radio here in the Total Seal pit with this guy, Matt Hartford, after 2 days of testing. More to come, Matt. All right, preseason, what do you got? Tell us what you've learned so far.
Well, I've learned that if I'm going to do videos on WFO Radio, I should probably wear a Total Seal shirt, not a QMP shirt.
Right.
But Brad, awesome swag. Thank you.
All right, no, I got to pull that out. I don't know why that's jumpy. That's a little jumpy. But you know what? They were annoyed. They were not getting past the 1,000-foot, right? And they were blowing the tires off. And so they were a little annoyed, him and Eddie. So maybe we'll save that one for the YouTube channel. And a lot of stuff is going to go up on the YouTube channel, guys. That is important for you to know. So if you have not yet subscribed to WFO Radio TV on YouTube, do it. All right, let me see if there's anything else that I just absolutely wanted to show you before it was time to get out of here. Oh, yeah. There was a couple that I thought, you've got to just check this out because the access was unprecedented. Let's hope. Caps. Oh man, I had a little PTSD. I had PTSD from when I was there, right? Because oh my gosh, to get that close, to be able to shoot that stuff that close, it was amazing. I bought this gimbal thing, and a couple of times, just the force of the cars blew it right off of the off its lid, which was amazing. All right, one more, and then we'll go to your final comments. I just wanted to bring you on the starting line, right? Saved it for last because I knew that you guys would love this stuff. Where's the one that I'm looking for? Let's see. Is this force? This is the 3. It's like you're taking artillery out there. You're taking artillery. I had, just the experience. That was not the 380 run that I thought it was. But you're bearing with me because I'm juggling files now. Let's see what happens with Alexis DeJoria. Let's get an Alexis run out there. just driving out of the shot, right? Driving right out of the shot. And, I'm going to use some of these shots like at the NHRA when I'm working. I can't capture these kind of videos. I certainly can't get that close to the action. Deep and Hawk. Love the pirouette from your gimbal gizmo. Yeah, the gimbal gizmo. I bought it last second, and I'm actually very pleased with the performance. Very surprised. I thought, testing it around the house, it wasn't the best. I was like, this thing isn't that great. But when I got out there into the real world, into the wild, if you will, I saw some really cool stuff. Like, let's do one more Nitro launch, Cruise Pedragon. Maybe we got... Yeah, to keep up with those guys, it's impossible, right? To go by, like trying to pan with them. It's just insanity to be able to do that. And those guys, like, think about the Fox camera operators that are doing that every time. Those guys earn their money. And that's a whole another aspect of it, like the crew who is actually capturing the imagery. Yeah, Brittany Force getting down there. And I had to get one pro stocker in. So let's get one pro stocker in. This was Brogdon, who was out there. His car looks awesome. Calls it the Storm or something like that. And pretty cool. Wheels up. And it was a little slick out there, as Hartford would have told you in that interview that wouldn't play. And so they were shutting it off at around 1,000 feet in pro stock. All right, guys, let me tell you about the people who make it possible for me to go WFO. And then I want to see race win predictions in each category. Funny car, top fuel, pro stock. And I'm going to read them down. Your thoughts. Who's going to win the Lucas Oil Winternationals? But first, let me tell you about the people who make it possible. Like, FTI, right? We saw Paul on there, FTIperformance.com. For all you sportsman racers out there, you big money bracket racers out there, if you're just getting involved in the sport, you want to make a call to FTIperformance.com. It's very clear that they have got the best in the business running their transmissions. Total Seal Piston Rings, very similar situation, totalseal.com. Don't forget the Trackside Tech Talk. It's on Friday, exact time. You're going to have to check the schedule at NHRA.com, or I'll tweet it out. Follow me, WFO Joe, but I will be there. Lake Speed Jr. going to be there. Keith Jones, Ed Keebler, right in Hartford's pit. Learn a little bit about Ring Seal. It's a great situation because people don't understand how much Ring Seal has changed over the last 10 years. You're wondering, like, how have these cars become so much more powerful? How have there are now 3,000 horsepower street cars? Like what's driving around out there at Sick Week, right? And the answer is Ring Seal has a lot to do with it. Go to totalseal.com, and we are rapid fire episodes on hidden horsepower. You should definitely check it out. Fans of Street Outlaws. Jeff Lutz, the most recent episode. Did you know that Jeff Lutz was a bricklayer before he decided to be a world-class chassis builder and TV star? He shared that with us. It was great. You're going to love the interview. And for fans of the TV show, push it out there for us, right? We got to get some of those millions of fans to check out Jeff Lutz being super honest and candid with us on Hidden Horsepower, totalseal.com. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology, thinking about Brian Massengill. And I want you to call him. Like, if you're a relatively young person who's thinking about a career in engine building, you want to go to the school or at very least kick the tire and learn about it, go to samtech.edu. But when you call him, ask for Brian Massengill, right? WFO Joe told me to call you. And that's going to be a very important thing. And we want to get some of our listeners into that field as students and then see them out on the NHRA Tour years from now or a year from now. Who knows? Samtech.edu. There's Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, obviously the Dragster Adventure. You can drive a dragster Wouldn't that be cool in 22 for you to drive a dragster, make a couple of runs, maybe even set up a race amongst you and your friends, or you and your sales team, or your corporate frenemies, right? The person in the cubicle across from you that you secretly don't like, and you could go out there and beat them on the racetrack? Exactly. FrankHawley.com. Oh, negative motivation. Not a good thing. And then Marvin Rodak, 817-924-6821. Good old-fashioned gourmet coffee from around the world, roasted fresh per your order. To your door, your letter carrier is going to love you for a while. And the hot sauces and the spice rubs and the grills and the tools and the tips and information out there in Fort Worth, Texas. Order some coffee from Marvin, guys, and support him for supporting us. And we support drag racing. It's a vicious circle, a cycle. All right. And then there's the Patreons, the VIP listener organization. That is the Patreon. You go to patreon.com/WFO Radio, or just go to our website, WFOradio.com. Click on the link. And this is where you must decide if you want to support the show behind the scenes in exchange for some unique content, in exchange for being a part of the Ignition show, maybe even as a co-host. You can listen to the Ignition podcast and hear how our Patreons are involved. You can support the show at a level that you choose, right? It's not like we're not giving different people different stuff. Everybody gets the same stuff. Choose what you can do. And it's been so heartening to see people adjust their membership, right? Like when things are going good, they adjust it up. When things are going a little tough, they adjust it down. It's not about that. It's about thank you for helping us to do what we do. It would not be happening otherwise. I would be working at the lumberyard with Danny Noonan. And instead, I get to talk drag racing. I get to be out there. I get to go to the test. And a lot of it is the Patreons. A lot of it are the sponsors. And I work very hard, hopefully you can tell, to make sure all those people feel appreciated and that I thank them and all of that. And maybe you can't do any of that. You just want a WFO Radio sticker, like Hartford Scott and Joe Aerosmith put on his car, and so many others like WFO Radio listeners out there have been supporting the show. Check this one that just got sent to me on Instagram. This Cutlass has got one sticker on it. I think this is almost insane. Like, I don't know if my dad would let me do that with my own car. Like, he would be like, Joe, you know, the only sticker is going to be, that's how devout some of our fans are out there. And thank you for that. They're all rocking gear. They're rocking stickers. They're getting stuff. You can find out how to get free stickers or WFO gear at cost by going to WFO store on WFOradio.com. Hopefully this has been enough time for you to get your predictions in there. Yeah, like I didn't really want to promote all my stuff for sale. It's just stalling for time so that you could get some predictions into the comment section. Here's what I asked for. I asked for Funny Car, Top Fuel, Pro Stock winners this weekend. First of all, shout out to Bobby. Competition Plus also did a great job bringing testing live to our interview, except for when I got yelled at. Joe Castello made a vicious error, and I was called on the carpet by Bobby Bennett, man. He like, you know, he was like, Joe, I have to talk to you. And I was like, oh, what did I do? Apparently, I got in the way of the streaming camera. I didn't know. On Force's 388 run, I got a great shot of it. But apparently the streaming folks, they saw me in my yellow vest. And so, you know, Bobby was very serious about it. He called me aside, a very fatherly move. And he told me, you know, you stepped in front of the camera, Joe. I was like, what camera? The one where we're doing the live streaming. Which one is that? That one right there. Oh, no. I stepped in front of that one. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You know, so fans at home, they didn't get to see that because of you. And I felt terrible for a minute. And then I got over it real fast. But Bobby and I, we made up and everything's cool. And even later, he's like, oh, man, I wasn't too hard on you, right? Because, you know, it was just that. And I was like, no, Bobby, don't worry. I would have been mad at myself, too. I'm still mad at myself. You can see me projecting my anger at myself for accidentally making a mistake. But it happened. And so that's it. So if you saw that moment on Competition Plus, hey, I'm sorry. Now on to the picks. Eddie. Caps, Antron, Erica. Okay, Caps could very easily happen. Antron could very easily happen. Erica could very easily happen. I like it, Eddie. I like those are good picks. Looking forward to your live NHRA interviews with sportsmen in the lanes, especially the staging lanes. We've got some really interesting stuff planned. We're going to try to pull off. Definitely follow NHRA social media. Follow, and you'll see. Caps, Proc, Anderson. All right, so the two Caps picks right off the bat. Two Caps picks. Austin Prock wins his first race back. Wow. That would just like shudder the foundations of drag racing, right? Tobler and Joe Barlam, and then Greg Anderson wins again, bookending the championship. That happens a lot, right? The guy who won the championship comes out and wins the Winternationals. I don't have the exact stat. Tony Schumacher, Force, Anderson. So everything I just said about with the same deal. Tony Schumacher, first race back, wins it. I don't know. That would just be a stunning development, but it's Tony Schumacher. He's capable of anything. And John Force and Greg Anderson, the sport's winningest drivers, right? All up on stage. That, let me do some quick math. That's 1 million wins. If you add Tony Schumacher and John Force and Greg Anderson, all their wins together, it definitely comes out to like 1 million. Winternationals pick Schumacher, Height, Anderson. All right, so Lonnie is like mixing it up with Robert in there, but they love Schumacher. And that's a good moment for me to note. Don't discount Tony Schumacher's ability to sell tickets. This guy forged relationships with thousands and thousands of fans around the country. And then he was gone. And the sad state of certain, sponsorship details. Am I going to go out to the race to see the race when my favorite driver is not at the race? A lot of people don't make that choice, but now he's back. I expect to see a bump in ticket sales thanks to Tony Schumacher. I wish we could track that. Jim Norris. I like the double AFC. Hagan, Coletta, Erica. Okay, that's 2 for Erica, a couple for Greg as well. Doug Coletta comes, well, that's a good pick at the Winternational. Doug Coletta and Hagan. That's the statistical pick right there. I like it, Jim. Good number crunching right there. Hagan, Antron, Erica. Okay. Alexis, Estevo, Dallas, Glenn. Great show as always. Thank you, Scott. Scott is a Patreon. Thank you to everybody. If you're a new first-time listener, subscribe, click the bell, like us on something, follow us on something, man. In particular, YouTube. And I'm WFO Joe. I never promote my personal stuff. I do a bad job of that. Bad job. Yeah, Torrance coming out of the box. We're going to be on with Torrance tomorrow, 2 o'clock. Don't miss it. Caps, Antron, Anderson, says Chuck. All right. Coletta, Caps, Enders, says Luke from Down Under. Luke, we got a whole community growing down there, man. You got to reach out to Matt, and you got to reach out to Dave and all the other guys that are down there, man. We got a bunch of Aussies that love WFO. You guys got to get together for beers, right? Have a nooner. Doug, Robert, Greg. A lot of Anderson picks. Height, Proc, Erica. The Erica fans are unrelenting. They are supporting. That would be a John Force Racing double right there, which would be pretty exciting. Being a WFO Patreon is a great thing. Thank you, Monica. Thank you for supporting us behind the scenes. I'm glad that you believe you're getting value. Here's Britt. Here's the one with the sticker. I made my fastest pass with that WFO sticker on the Cuddy. Look at this. This is just crazy because not only did Britt put this WFO sticker on her car, but she also went out and made the fastest pass with it. So maybe it would be, but is that shocking? No. Is it shocking that we have a young female listener? Yes. Coming out of AM Talk Radio years ago, that is a very rare thing. Welcome, Britt. Thank you for putting the sticker on your car. I think it is amazing. It's a beautiful car. And thank you so much. And hopefully others will follow in your footsteps and get some free stickers on the website just by doing all the work, sending the self-addressed stamped envelope. Ron, Steve, Erica. Okay. Caps and Steve-O champs. Erica, close. Coming out of the box strong. Never bet against Erica. Go Ron, Caps, and Leah this weekend needs to get here ASAP, says Cindy. Yeah, I agree. I'd like to talk to Steve tomorrow, though. Last minute, Larry. LOL. Hi, Joe. There it is. Let's see. Monica, my kid is to the moon with excitement to see Tony back racing. Of course, he's Tony Schumacher. It would be great if Erica would get the first win, says Cindy. Well, I know that Erica and Courtney feel that way. And I know her legions of fans, which she has as many fans as anybody in the Nitro ranks. That's the thing that people don't understand about Erica. She's got a massive fan base, and they ride with her no matter what. Do you have shirts with logos on the back? I have a 22-inch long beard. Thank you for thinking of us, Dave. Like, well, how can we promote WFO? I believe we do. Check out the WFO store. Our T-Public store. Believe we have logos on the front and logos on the back, but I'm going to double check that for you, Dave. We're going to get, there's the regular logo, which is 7 inches. And then there's the giant logo, which is literally giant. And it actually happened as a mistake. And now that they're out there, they're starting to look really good. Like, whoa, we would have never made the logo that big on purpose, because that's just crazy. Except seeing people with their giant logo WFO stuff, especially hoodies and sweatshirts on the back, it's amazing. It's amazing. Josh Hart, wow. Paul Lee and Kenny Delco? Man, that would be great. Kenny Delco and John Serbone driving that Delco car. Didn't mention John Serbone, but guy knows how to roll the gears, man. Get ready. Watch John. Hey, Joe, Steve and Leslie will see you in Gainesville. We'll miss you this weekend. Have a good race. There you go. Hey, it's Steve and Leslie. All right. There it is. Way to go, Steve and Leslie, my 2 friends. They are great friends, man. I love those 2. Leslie especially. Steve also, but mostly Leslie. And there you go. Guys, that's it. I've done all I can do to get you excited about the Lucas Oil Winternationals here this weekend. That's all I got. Or maybe there's more that'll show up on the YouTube channel, WFO Radio TV. Maybe the Hartford interview that you didn't get to see because it was a little glitchy here. Maybe an interview with Clay Milliken that you didn't get to see here. Maybe some launches that you didn't get to say here. Not lunches, launches. All of it. Tomorrow, Steve Torrance, the champ, the Drive for 5. What's he think? Is this the most competitive year ever? Do they have what it takes to win again over the toughest competition that they've faced? The return of Austin Prock, Brittany Force, David Grubnick, another year of crew chiefing under his belt? These are very valid questions. Have they been able to keep the chemistry going? What does Steve-O have to say? And we're going to find out tomorrow here on WFO Radio. And I always say this because it's true. WFO Radio is the mom and pop store, guys, going up against that big corporation. You think about, the MRNs out there, the PRNs putting out audio content to try to entertain you, XMs. We are the mom and pop store, the little guy in the big fight. And anytime you can share the show or tell somebody about the show or follow our social media, retweet a tweet, it is very helpful to our quest for survival out here. And we've got great sponsors, whether it be a bag of coffee or a performance racing transmission, a set of rings from Total Seal. When you use our sponsors, when you watch the show, when you share the show, you're helping out in a way that I can't even begin to stress. So thank you. Blake in Wyoming. Joe, my parents and I are already in California. God willing, we will see you this weekend in Pomona. Well, you're already there and I'm not. So yes, God willing. God willing. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Thanks to Alan Reinhart. And we will see you tomorrow on WFO Radio for the final show before we light them up and burn a little nitro this weekend at the Lucas Oil Winternationals. Thanks, guys.